Hello and welcome, everyone. My name is Mark, a trainer here at WEX Field Service Management, and today we are covering job management and best practices. This webinar will cover what a job is in WEX FSM with a job page overview. We'll go over appointment statuses and visuals, how to do a job with multiple appointments, callbacks. We'll look at how to use the flag for follow-up feature and end with some job reporting to manage your jobs in bulk. We'll do our live Q&A also at the end where you can ask your questions and get those answered live on stream. And without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into WEX FSM. All right. So the first question to answer here is, just what is a job? Jobs in your system, I like to think of them as digital file folders that will hold everything relating to a job. I have navigated to a customer page. So you'll have customers in your system. Each customer will have a profile page, and you can get to that customer simply by searching their name. So I searched for Mary Smith. Since Mary is already part of my system, I clicked on her name here, and that's what brought me to the job page. You can do that for any of your customers, type their name in. If they are in your customer list, you'll see them pop up. You just click. If they're not in your customer list, you can add a new customer by clicking the plus button here, fill out the information, and save. That will create a page like this. Now, your customers on the right side will have a timeline. And if we look here, each of these gray rectangles represent a job. So you can see we've done a lot of work for Mary. Each time you create a job, it's going to auto-populate the job number. And then you have the ability to also name the job. And those, once they're created, will show up here. For each of these jobs, there is a way to quickly see what's inside of the job by clicking the red triangle. And that can be for quick spot checking. Which of these jobs do I want to look at? You hit the arrow. This one just has an appointment, and then this one has invoice, job note, proposal. So you can quickly see what's inside of each of these jobs just by clicking that drop down. To create a job, there's actually two main ways that you can create a job in your system. One way is to create a job without an appointment. You're just going to make a job folder and determine whether or not you want a proposal or invoice in that job. To do this, from the customer page under quick actions, you'll see there's a lot of different quick actions you can do. It's the very last one here, and it says create a new job form. So if I want to create a new job and get another one of these rectangles down here, I will click create a new job form. From here, you will select which address is this job for. Maybe it's for Mary's home, but maybe she's having us go out and work on her rental property. As long as you have additional locations added, you'll see those in a list here. You can create a new job, which is going to create a new job folder. And then you have the option to select a job type, which is great for reporting. So let's say this was a service call. And I highly recommend that you name all of your jobs. That way you can quickly recall what that job is. Let's say that this is a no AC call for an HVAC company. Now, we have three options here when creating a job. If I just want to make the job with no documents in it, just a blank job folder that I will then go in later and add appointments, proposals, invoices, etc. I would select create new job only without proposal or invoice. If I want to create a job with a proposal, I'll choose create new proposal or create a job with an invoice. When I click, let's say create new invoice, it will create that no AC call job, and now I'm creating the invoice for that job. You can just quickly, add items from your price book, build out that invoice, and then, either take payment, send it to your customer, or save and close. We'll do save and close right now. And here we go. So I've created a job with an invoice. And now this job, if I go back to my customer, Mary Smith, here we go. Here's the new job we created with the name. So that's one way to do it. You can do it from the customer page, but you will also be scheduling appointments. When you schedule appointments, you may be doing it from the schedule page. And each time you add a new appointment, let's say I click new, and I'm going to do an appointment for my customer, Justin. I'll set up the appointment and hit schedule. And when I do that, when I create the appointment, it will create a new job if I have new job selected here. Or if this is a callback, I need this appointment to be attached to a previous job, I can select the previous job folder when creating the appointment. So a job is a digital file folder that's going to hold everything relating to that job. You can create a new job from the customer page, or you can create a new job when you are scheduling. And if you notice on the schedule page, I have a bunch of appointments on the board here. And if you hover over the appointment, we see this one created job 14170 when I made this appointment. This one created job 14171, etc. Just know that if you are creating appointments, it's also creating the jobs and saving that appointment in that job. All right. So that is an explanation of just what a job is. But now let's dive deeper into a job folder and go over what you will find inside the job. To do this, we are going to, let's go back to Mary's customer page. So I'm on Mary's customer page. I know that the activity down here shows me all of the jobs, but I want to search for a specific job. And so we'll look for job 11918. You can search for jobs from the customer page. Type in the job number and it will show up. Once you find a job that you want to view and edit, you will click on the red job number. And that takes us into that job. And now we're just going to go over what you're going to find here and give you some tips and tricks on how to maximize this job page. In the top left, we have the job number and name. Again, the name is just to remind you what the job is about at a glance. If you need to update what the job is named, you click the edit pencil, rename, and save. On the right in the top, we have the job tracker. Now this will just highlight where you are in the job progress. If you're not making a proposal for this specific job, that's fine. It just won't recognize the proposal here. But as you create your appointments and complete them, you have your proposals signed, you order your parts, you get your invoices made, and you take your payment, you'll see that progress up top here. Down below, we have the job summary area. This is going to tell you, is this job open, closed, or abandoned? The job status will actually automatically set itself to closed once all actions have been completed. So if you create an appointment, those appointments need to be marked as complete. If you create a proposal, that will either need to be signed or declined or even voided to be considered completed. If you have proposal comparisons, purchase orders, invoices, you want your invoices to be paid. And once all of these are in their final completed state, then the job will automatically be set to closed. So that is nice. You know, you have your invoice, it's the last part of the job. That invoice now gets paid. Everything is marked as complete, converted, and good to go. You don't have to remember to come back here and update that. It will close the job manually. You can always open it back up if you want to manually from here. We have our job types. Which type of job is this? And the job price, which you would have set up from your pricing defaults page. A little context about job price. Number one, you're going to want to make sure you have your pricing strategies set correctly. To do this, you will go to More Applications, Price Book, Pricing Defaults. The pricing defaults page has your standard price, so all your items in your price book will automatically take on the standard price. You can update your parts markup multiplier from here. And then you have maintenance plan pricing, which is an automatic pricing strategy that will apply for your maintenance plan customers. So let's say I am working with a new customer. They are not a maintenance plan customer, and I do a job for them, send them an invoice. That invoice will be the standard price. But let's say we sign them up for a maintenance plan, and then we go out and do a job for them again. It will automatically apply the maintenance plan price because it will know that that customer is a maintenance plan customer in your system. And then you have three modifiers that you can update yourself. So you can make discounts like we see here, friends and family and military discount. Or you can make upcharges. So if you do after hours work and you need to charge an extra 25% on the weekends, let's say, you can add that here. Once you have your pricing defaults set, make sure you come down and hit save. Then on each job, you can select the price. So a scenario here, let's say that, Mary is in the military. We come down, select military discount, and then when we create our proposals and invoices, they will take on that discount from here. Let's put it back to standard price for now. And then we have a couple quick access to information, calls and notes. Any notes that you have created for this job will show up here, whether that is created in the field or in the office. This is where to find your notes. You can click on the note to see it and edit it. Checklists, if you're going to use checklists, this is where you can add checklists. You will need to first create your checklist templates if you want to be able to add checklists here. And you would do that from More Applications, Checklists. And you will click New to add a checklist. Select the checklist you want to add. Edit it as needed and hit save. You can also set checklists to auto attach if you know that every time we do a maintenance, I need the maintenance checklist added because my technicians, I love them, but I want them to follow our process. And so to do that, you would do that when creating the checklists. So let's go to More Applications, Checklists. So HVAC maintenance checklist. Let's look at that. So we have this to automatically add this checklist to each job with the selected job types. I selected the maintenance job type. So now, whether I'm scheduling or adding jobs from the customer page, I'll select the maintenance job type and then I don't have to think about it. It will just automatically add this checklist to that job. And this is where you set that up. Back to our job page. Any equipment that you add will be viewable here. This is great for historical record. You will see this in the mobile app as well, so you can just spot check what equipment is on hand here. Any attachments that you add or upload will be here. This is where you can send a review request to request your customer to give you a review. User allocation, where you can see how much money is being allocated to your technicians. Maybe you're giving a commission for certain different types of sales. And then profit and loss, I do want to dive into this a little bit. Each job that you have is going to give you a profit. So you can see how much money you've made on each job. But in order for that number to be correct, there are two main things that need to be set up: your product costs and your labor costs. Product costs are coming from the cost field from each price book item that you're adding to your proposals and invoices. And so, for context, if we go to more applications, price book, my price book, oopsie, I just closed it. Every product in your price book, let's just go to my parts folder here, and I'm just going to look at this general part. Every product in your price book has a cost section. If this is empty, when I add this item to an invoice, it's not going to be able to see how much I paid for it, from the business side. So you want to go in and just make sure that your cost is included in all of your products in the price book. And that will just make sure that the cost is correct on the job when you add those items to the invoice. The second area to look is for your labor cost, and that's going to be your technicians tracking time on the job out in the field. To set up the labor cost, you will go to Settings, User Management. Oh, yes, User Management, Users. Each user, and we're going to use my field technician, Dustin Bailey here. Each user has a labor cost per hour. If this is empty, when Dustin goes out and tracks time on the job, it's not going to know how much to calculate for his labor cost. So make sure you're filling this in for anyone who's going to go out and run the job and clock in for the job, clock out of the job, and track that labor cost per hour. Once you've updated that here, scroll down and hit save. Then when Dustin goes out, he's going to say, I'm on my way, I'm at the job, and now the job is complete. And your system will take the labor cost per hour, multiply that times hours worked to give us our labor cost. Now, when you look at your profit and loss reporting, you'll know that that's correct. Opportunity. So if you look here, this says opportunity. And what this is saying, if opportunity is toggled on, that means that this is a job that has an opportunity to win a sale. Let's say that this is a big estimate, a proposal that you're creating to send out to your customer. That proposal will be considered an opportunity. If the customer approves and signs that proposal, and you do the job, that will be considered in your close rate as a one job. If it's declined, then that will be considered a lost job. And then when you go to your proposals report, Since you've been tracking opportunity on those estimate jobs, you'll be able to see an accurate close rate for jobs won versus jobs lost. If that doesn't really apply, you are just doing the service that day and charging them. It's not a big job. You're not doing a proposal. You can just have opportunity turned off, and it will not include this in your close rate for proposals. Each job allows you to create a belled note. This comes in very handy and is a great time saver. If you are the one who's doing the scheduling, then you know how many little things you need to know. You're talking to the customer, there's a lot of stuff to type in, and every minute that you can get back in your day is good. So, as a time saver, if there's any information that you know needs to be available anytime someone goes out to that job or to that location, I would use a belled note. So, the example here, gate code is great. This lets us know Mary has two cats. Those cats aren't going anywhere. So, every time we go out, we'll need to know this. Filter sizes, you know, just any details that you are tired of typing every single time you make an appointment for them. To set up a belled note, you will do that from the customer page. So if I go back to Mary Smith's customer page, I can create notes for the timeline here by going to the quick action, leave a note about the customer. Once I click on this, by default, we're just leaving a note to put in the timeline here. So you can add as many notes as you want. They'll go into the timeline on the right. But as I add stuff, that will be pushed down in the timeline. To bell the note, you will click the bell. You can then assign which address you want this particular belled note to go to. If you don't select any, this will show up on any job you create for this customer. If you select a address, it will only show up on that address. But enter your info here, whatever it needs to be, and hit save. If the note is belled, that will show up as a customer note at the top of their timeline and will always stay up here for quick reference. And when you're on the job, you'll be able to see it from desktop and from mobile. When they go into the appointment, they'll see the belled note right at the top. All right, moving on. Each job has four main sections: appointments and service requests, proposals and financing, purchase orders, invoices, and payments. Appointments and service requests will allow you to see all of your appointments that have been created or are pending for this job. Yes, you can create multiple appointments per job. So this may be a really long list of every time you've went out if this is a job that, is spanning over a couple months, for an example. You can create new appointments. You could technically do all of your scheduling if you wanted to from the job page. You can edit. If I click the edit button here, that allows me to edit that appointment. And just know that anything you see here under appointments will be reflected on the schedule page. So if I were to create an appointment for today on the job page, and then I go back to the schedule, I would see it on the schedule here. And service requests. If I create a service request, which is a drafted job, it's not completely ready to be on the board yet. When I create that service request here from the job page, I will see it in the work queue over here as well when I'm on the schedule page. Proposals and financing. So you can create proposals, you can create proposal comparisons, and you can offer new loans and go through an application process with your customer from this section. Every proposal you create, you can convert to an invoice to take payment. You can click on the PDF icon to view what your customer will see when you send this to them. And you can also send these directly to the customer using the send button here. You can also click the send button here, which is a quick access to just send this out to the customer. And then if you do send it, if you hover over this little timeline icon, it will show you the last time you sent that document. Purchase orders, you can order parts from your system. Let's say that we went out, I did a job, I realized there's a part that we need before we can continue. You can simply create a new or copy from an existing, make a purchase order. And these are, real documents that you're sending to your supplier, which will allow them to fulfill your order for you. Now, you do have to set up your suppliers and manufacturers. There is a little bit of setup before this will be ready, but that is the exact same as your price book. That is something you would have set up as well. And then invoices and payments. Any invoices you create, you'll see those here. Any payments that you make, you'll see those here. And just a pro tip, if you have an invoice already set, you can click into the invoice to edit it, make any changes that are needed, and you can take payment from here with Pay Now and record payment. You can send it to the customer where they can make a payment online, or if you're not ready to send it yet, you can just hit Save and Close. But you can also take a payment from the payment section directly. If you already know that your invoice is good to go, you don't have to open it to edit it to take payment. You can actually just hit in the payment section. I could just record or process a payment. And then I would just want to make sure I'm searching for the invoice. So 11918. And here we go. Payment method. Let's say they paid with a check. Date received was today. And record payment. And so that's just a pro tip. You can either open it and make a payment or use the payment buttons here. All right, so that is an overview of the job summary page and what you'll see and actions you can take from here. Next, let's look at appointment status and visuals. We'll go back to the schedule page. So if you are sitting in the office and you just want to get a gauge of where your field technicians are in the process of all their jobs, we have some indicators on the home page, or sorry, on the schedule page that can show you this. If we look, this appointment for Dustin Bailey here has no moving lines or anything. It's just a standard box. That means that this has been scheduled, but no appointment status has been updated on it yet. Once you see moving dotted lines like this, that means that this user is on the way to this job. So I know Caleb right now is driving out to Mike's house. Once those dotted lines stop moving, it just is a dotted outline. That means that they are at the job doing the work. So I, from the mobile app, would have hit at job. And now in the office, I can instantly tell that they made that update. And then once the job is complete, let's say I'm a technician, I finished the job, I will mark the job as complete and move on to my next job. From the office, we are seeing that as gray. And the colors you see, red, purple, green, these are represented by the job type. And so red is a service call, purple is a maintenance call, green is an install. So if I see a lot of green on the board, I can just know right away we're doing a lot of installs today. If a appointment is missed, no time is tracked on it, but the time passes, it will go into a low opacity. So this is a service job, and we can see the color is red, but it's just a faded red. That means that this was missed, and you may want to hover over, go into the job, and see, what's going on there. Maybe Bruce had a busy day and forgot to go out to this. Or maybe he did the job, he just forgot to clock in. When you go into the job itself, we can see he was supposed to be there between 9 and 10 a.m., but didn't actually clock any time. So maybe I'm calling Bruce, hey, did you do this job for Bruno at Main Street? Oh, yes, I did. I'm sorry, I forgot to clock in. You can just update that from here. Click the actual time, which is the time they would have worked, and then put in the time. So let's say he told me he got there actually at 8:45 and left around 9:37. Save. So there we go. And now this has tracked time. We'll want to mark this as complete. So we will change the status as well to complete and update. So there we go. If we go back to the schedule page, we can see that now has been updated properly. So that's an easy way just to update in case technicians either miss an appointment, which is, red flag, or they did the appointment, they just forgot to clock in. All right. Next, let's talk about jobs with multiple appointments and how you can really utilize the flag for follow-up feature. To do this, we're going to go to a job. So I'm just typing in my customer, Justin Hernandez, going to his profile page and clicking into the job. So that's how I got here. Now that we're here, if we scroll down, we can see that this job has 3 appointments. So we did multiple sessions with this. A pro tip for having multiple multiple phases, multiple visits, you can leverage appointment tags to help you out with this. So when I create a job, I'm able to put what type of job that is. So let's say that this is an install. And I know that in this install is going to take 3 months to complete. And we're going to go out there many different times because there's different phases. When I'm scheduling, I can actually tag each of those visits and it will show up here under the appointment tags. And so you can get creative with this on how you run your jobs, but let me show you where you can add a tag. When I click new to create a new appointment, I will put the tags here. And there's a lot of different tags that you can use. In this scenario where we know ahead of time there's going to be multiple visits, maybe I want to come in and add my own tag by clicking add new tag. And then, you can type in estimate, initial, staging, replace equipment, final install, and you just put in the different tags of the different phases. In this scenario, I just did visit 1, visit 2, visit 3. Every time I created the appointment, I tagged the first visit as visit 1, the second visit as visit 2, the third as visit 3. And then when I come back and look at these callbacks, it's going to be marked as an install as a total, but each phase is broken out by appointment. And these tags help me know which visit is which. So that's one scenario. Another scenario for callbacks would be I can't finish this job. I thought I could, but I realized I need a part before I can finish. So I'm going to have to order the part, come back, and that's a follow-up I'm going to have to do. In that scenario, you would really want to use the flag for follow-up feature. I realize I need a part. You can do this from the mobile app as well. So let's say I'm out in the field and I'm going to add a flag. If you're doing it from the office, you just click flag for follow-up here. Put in the follow-up type. There's many different reasons why a follow-up would need to happen. For today's example, we'll do part order. And then, needed this part, ordered, will be here next week. Whatever notes you want to add, put those and hit save. That will then flag this job. And if you come to this job, you'll see the flag here, so you can update the flag as needed. If you see that on the schedule page, you'll see there's a flag in the top left. So I know that there's a flag for this job. And you can either go to the job list from here. So if I hover over jobs, job list, this is the main place that you can search and update for flags in bulk. And if you don't want to navigate to jobs, job list, we actually added a quick access to this by up here in the top right, flags. So if I click on flags, it's going to bring me to the job list, which is essentially your home base for all your flags in your system. And at first, it will show you all your jobs in your system, but I want to look at all my follow-ups, all my flags. So I will select show flag jobs only, and I can click on each flag to view and edit what it is. So in this scenario, let's say the part comes in, I schedule the follow-up, and then my technician goes out and they will just complete the flag out there when they're done. If they don't and you want to do it in the office, maybe you are the one who takes care of the flags after it's all done, you would just do it from here. Click on the flag, mark the flag as complete, and hit save. Then when we go back to the job, the flag has been removed. Use flag for follow-up in any way. It doesn't just have to be for part order. Any follow-up, it's like adding a sticky note to the job that is just going to remind you what follow-up needs to happen. And the last thing we're going to get into before our Q&A is just some job reporting. We have a really great report that can give you an overall view, a top-level overview of each job. To do this, we will go to reporting. From the reporting page, we want to go to the job summary report. Which is right here. Well, you can see it. Job summary report. Click on that and feel free to bookmark this page. This is a place you'll probably want to come to often. And this shows you all of your jobs in your system. You can filter by date range, by job type, and you can filter for flag jobs only, like on the job list, but you can't edit the flags or manage them from here. It's just meant for you to see that the job is flagged. But what you can see is the job open, closed, or abandoned? Are there any checklists that are outstanding? If you see a little exclamation point, that means that the checklist has not been complete. You can even view what the checklist looks like with the little PDF icon from here. Was an appointment scheduled and was it completed? So if you have an appointment that was scheduled a week ago and there's no completed status, what happened there? Why not? And you can go into the job and investigate. Was a proposal signed? You know, we got signed proposals out there. It's time for us to do the work, but I don't want to get lost in the sauce. How do I know where my signed proposals are? Here it is. And was an invoice created for that signed proposal? And this will give you a gauge of that. So, job summary, great place to just get an overall idea of the different stages of the job and the completion of those items. All right. So, that is all the information that we have for today's presentation. I hope that you learned something. And we're going to go to our Q&A now, so feel free to enter those in the chat or just unmute and talk with me. But I want to say thank you so much for joining. My name is Mark with WEX Field Service Management, and this has been Job Management and Best Practices.